President.
Republican leader.
For Washington Democrats, 2021 will have one major theme: ramming through inflationary spending on a partisan basis that hurts American families and actually helps China. That's how this all-Democratic government began the year, jamming through a wasteful excuse for a stimulus bill that drove up prices, made supply chain problems even worse. Not a single Republican supported it, and Democrats now want to end the year with another massive spree that would make it even worse. The whole country understands that Democrats own this mess. They have seized one-party control of the economy, so you better believe that they'll have one-party accountability for the resulting nightmare. The president and his allies are badly upside down in overall approval ratings, upside down on the generic ballot, upside down on the economy, and the more the men and women of this country learn about the reckless taxing and spending spree that Democrats are planning next, the less they want it or anything close to it. Democrats have wanted to transform the country alone. They want to print and borrow trillion after trillion on their own. They want to create even more inflation on their own. So, as Republicans have made clear for months, they will have to own a debt ceiling increase as well. This week, the House and Senate have reached a bipartisan agreement to make that happen. As the Democratic leader said yesterday, the Democrats are, quote, willing to carry the burden, and so they will. We've reached an agreement on a one-time, one-shot statutory process that will enable Democrats to raise the debt limit at a fixed dollar amount, which they will specify. Much like the vote on an arms sales resolution that occurred yesterday and the Congressional Review Act vote that will occur today, this will be a standard expedited process at a simple majority threshold established by law. Democrats will get one shot at this. They won't be able to add any other amendments, and every single Senate Democrat will have to put their name to the gigantic dollar amount of debt they're prepared to pile on the American people. Now, Mr. President, on another matter, for the past 2 years, as the country has battled COVID-19, I've been a strong and consistent advocate of following the science and taking precautions. That's included strong support for the safe and effective vaccines that have helped millions of Americans substantially lower their risk of death or serious illness. I took advantage of these modern medical miracles as soon as I could. I've received a booster. I've encouraged Kentuckians and all Americans to take full advantage as well. I've recorded public service announcements. I'm a survivor of childhood polio. I've watched vaccines obliterate polio in our entire country in my lifetime. Trust me, there's no bigger proponent of vaccination than I am. But here's the thing. The United States of America is a free country. The federal government, elites in Washington, cannot micromanage citizens' personal choices without a legitimate basis in law and the Constitution. And that goes double for presidents going far beyond the bounds of their office and their authority. President Biden's absurd private sector vaccine mandate is blatant overreach. It is illegal. The administration has already lost in federal court and had it blocked. Washington Democrats have lashed themselves to a mast that is very simple. Unvaccinated people should be fired. That's what they want. They don't trust individuals, families, doctors, employers, and customers to sort things out for themselves. They want every worker at a medium-sized business and up to either get this shot or get fired by President Biden. And buried in the illegal mandate is a call to explore whether it should expand to all businesses. This is not how things work in our country, period. Workers are not happy, Medium-sized businesses are not happy, especially not in the middle of this worker shortage. And frankly, nobody who understands our system of government is happy. I've heard from so many Kentuckians who are affected by the administration's suite of several unwise vaccine mandates. Here's one quote. My wife was notified that if she doesn't get fully vaccinated by January 4th, then she would be terminated and lose her job without severance or unemployment. She's been there for 17 years and has nothing but exemplary reviews. Here's another. I will lose my job at the Paducah gaseous diffusion plant. I very much enjoyed my work there and had every intention of retiring from the plant. However, due to Joe Biden's forced vaccine mandate, I will be terminated. Please let a man who wants to work go to work. Here's another. My firm of 103 employees will either lose about 25 to the mandate or lay off 4 to get to 99. Which one should we do? Remember, personally, I'd encourage each of these Kentuckians to get the vaccine. But for the purposes of this conversation, that really isn't the point. You better believe I'm going to stand up and fight for their freedom. I want to thank the junior senator for Indiana for spearheading this resolution to overturn the Biden administration's illegal mandate. I'm a proud co-sponsor. I'll proudly vote for it and urge every senator to do the same. Now, in one final matter, the national murder rate just recorded its biggest jump in more than a century. In some cities, homicides have set all-time records. From Albuquerque to Milwaukee to Memphis to Des Moines, city officials reported more murders last year than in any prior year. In my hometown of Louisville, homicides this year have now broken last year's all-time record. All last year, liberal politicians and activists made absurd and false claims about law enforcement. Here were some of them. We need to completely dismantle local police. Here was another one. Policing in our country is inherently and intentionally racist. A left-wing messaging campaign has spent a year and a half trying to chill law enforcement and policing. A network of liberal district attorneys around the country are matching their rhetoric with incredibly soft-on-crime practices behind the scenes. And the predictable result of all this has been a collapse in public safety. For example, last month, a man killed 6 people and injured dozens more at a Christmas market in Wisconsin, just weeks after he was released. Listen to this, just weeks after he was released on bail for another set of violent charges. This criminal had already been arrested and locked up in neighboring Milwaukee County, but he was let out by a liberal DA who remarked several years ago that, quote, is there going to be an individual I divert or I put into a treatment program who's going to go out and kill somebody? Well, you bet. Guaranteed. It's guaranteed to happen. It does not invalidate the overall approach. Stunning. That's now a whole bunch of grieving families in this Wisconsin city who have strong feelings about that, quote, approach. Here's a headline from New York City just this week, quote, man busted for assault set free, allegedly beats 2 random New York City women, then cut loose again. Smash and grabs, flash mob thefts, and carjackings are increasingly facts of life in multiple major cities. But against this backdrop, Democrats just want to keep getting weaker on crime and softer on public safety. We expect to vote today on the nomination of Rachel Rollins to be U.S. Attorney for Massachusetts. Ms. Rollins has spent years in her current job as a DA pushing the idea that the state should wipe entire categories of crimes off the list of things worth prosecuting. She'd rather her office not go after trespassers, shoplifters, or even those found possessing drugs with intent to distribute. This soft-on-crime advocacy should have earned the nominee a pink slip. Instead, President Biden is giving her a promotion. I would urge all senators to vote no. Law-abiding Americans don't want prosecutors who refuse to prosecute. They don't want city jails equipped with revolving doors. And they need leaders who will defend the rule of law.